Ken, we've already gotten 4 decisions from the court, and among them is one of the big ones we have been watching. This is a unanimous opinion that will make it easier to file so-called reverse discrimination claims here in the U.S. Now here, the Supreme Court sided with a straight woman in Ohio. She filed a reverse discrimination lawsuit against her employer when her gay boss declined to promote her and instead promoted another gay individual.
The gays are stealing our jobs. The gays! They're more qualified. The gays! Anyways.
Now, this is mostly about the bar that members of majority groups, so in this case a straight white woman, need to meet in order to file these kinds of claims. And here in a unanimous opinion, they have sided with this woman. So she will, it appears, be allowed to continue to proceed with this.
Discrimination is discrimination. The Supreme Court of the United States unanimously agreed. Is this a redemption arc for the U.S. Supreme Court? Because even the liberal justices, including Ketanji Brown Jackson, agreed that it doesn't matter if you're white, you're straight, a member of a, end quote, majority group, you can still be discriminated against, and that equal law has to apply. This woman, Marlene Ames, sent her case all the way up to the Supreme Court because allegedly some gay folks got a promotion, and one of them even swooped in and took her job, and she got demoted after 5 years. That's a long time to be in a position and then go down, but that does sound awfully fishy considering that her manager, her direct supervisor, was also a gay person. So manager is a gay person, the person who takes the promotion is gay, the person who takes her position is gay. I mean, it sounds like a pretty much a slam dunk situation to me, but let's go ahead and react to this video where they get into it a little bit in greater detail.
Marlene Ames was working for the Ohio Department of Youth Services when a position opened up as bureau chief.
And then you decided to put in for a promotion.
Yes. My supervisor at the time asked if I was going to apply.
But just a few days after she got her 30-year service pin, Ames found out instead of a promotion, she was being demoted to a secretary.
It was humiliating going to work every day.
The colleague who replaced her was gay, and shortly afterward, the promotion went to a woman who also was gay.
Gay, gay, gay. Everybody's gay.
Ha! Gay!
So, only question I would have is, what was her current position? I don't know. I don't think I heard them say what her current position was, but they said something about being promoted to like a chief. And like you're talking about from secretary, which was a demotion, the promotion is chief. I mean, this is a pretty wide divide. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see what it says because according to my understanding, the Supreme Court kicked this back down to where now she can sue for this, whereas before they basically didn't even allow her to sue originally, but she was able to appeal that decision.
Ames decided to sue for discrimination based on her sexual orientation as a straight woman.
I knew the law was against us. Took the case anyway.
Akron lawyer Edward Gilbert
not her hiring a black man to represent her.
Knew it was a tough fight because federal courts in Ohio, like those in about a third of the country, require people filing suit to jump through another hoop by proving, for example, a pattern of historical discrimination, a burden non-minority groups can't always show.
So how the hell do you do that? Prove a pattern of historic discrimination? What if the discrimination is just against you as an individual? How do you prove historic discrimination? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
After lower courts ruled against her, Gilbert connected with...
You're telling me if it happens once or twice, that's not enough? What is the benchmark for historic? Does it need to be 10 times over 10 years? Does it need to be 100 times over 20? What does that even mean?
The University of Virginia Law School's Supreme Court Litigation Clinic.
The Civil Rights Act protects all of us, and it protects all of us equally. And to have judges put additional rules and burdens on people just isn't fair.
But some civil rights advocates are siding against Ames.
Discrimination is not a relic of the past,
saying the law was originally passed to protect Black people and other minorities, and evidence of historical discrimination is important.
LGBTQ plus people report much higher rates of discrimination in the workplace than other groups.
Ohio officials deny Ames's claims.
I mean, if just because discrimination can still occur, and do the majority of white people who have control in the country and wealth, you know, obviously built up a lot of it over slavery times unfairly as well. But even with that said, does that mean that you get a group of people that are LGBT, like let's just say they're gay? Everybody's gay. There's a bunch of gay men, gay women, and they hire gay everybody, and they refuse to hire anybody else. Is that also okay? I mean, of course not. You can't say, well, white people can't do it. You have to hire me for every type of group. And then whatever the minority groups, they could just do whatever the hell they want, discriminate, just break any laws. It's okay. You're a minority. It's crazy that you have people that are fighting for that. I think they missed MLK's plot when he said he wanted people to be judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And it's sad and pathetic that people are still trying to basically do the opposite. They're basically trying to make it where it's like white revenge. It's revenge against white people, basically, and doing things that were done in the past, except in reverse. And, you know, I know people say, oh, it's not reverse, it's just discrimination. But the point behind saying reverse is like, yeah, you're doing it almost as like a retaliation for historical atrocities, historical things done against your minority group. So now you're going to, in reverse, do the same thing back.
Say she was demoted as part of a broader restructuring of the department. But Ames says she didn't deserve what happened to her.
This is for everyone in the United States.
A broad restructuring, it's just a coincidence. Gay, gay, gay. 3 gay people in a row. Just a coincidence.
Everyone should have a fair shake.
Crazy that people think that this is okay. You also got these folks on TikTok, some of whom are melting down. The things are mixed. Some people feel like this is great because they hate discrimination. They're like, look, we're trying to prevent a race war here, and just basically all the white people feeling disgruntled or effectively being unfair. Like, basically, if you do the same thing that you feel like was some evil, atrocious thing, then how are you any better? And some people see it that way, but some other people see it from the woke victim position.
Let me repeat. The Supreme Court just unanimously sided with a woman claiming reverse discrimination and that she was passed up for a promotion at work because she is, again, heterosexual. This case started way back in February, and I'm going to read from an article that PBS published in February after the arguments were heard in court. So this is describing what exactly the lawsuit is about. So the woman suing, her name is Marlene Ames, and she contends that she was passed over for a promotion and then demoted because she is heterosexual. Both the job she sought and the one she had held were given to LGBTQ people. Oh, the gays are stealing our jobs. The gays! They're more qualified, the gays! Anyways.
Something seems very, very wrong and very dangerous about this. Because how? Like, this is going to open up the floodgates and further empower people who are so against DEI to be like, oh, I'm the victim. What I want to see come out next, or what I'm going to have to start going down a rabbit hole, is the reason why her job made these decisions to demote her. There has to be a reason for that. You can't just demote somebody without any reason. Now,
and my whole thing, what job are you at where you're being discriminated against for being straight? Where are those jobs? I'd like to have one, actually. I'm seriously wondering, like, where are you working that this is happening so frequently? Hamburger Mary's, a bathhouse, Pedro Pascal's PR team? If you are, discriminate back.
My eyes, the goggles do nothing.
If there was no reason at all, if she doesn't have any, issues with her work, if she doesn't have any write-ups, then maybe we could talk about it. But hey, let's review what she's doing at her job and what led this to happen. Because I find it really hard to believe that she got discriminated against because she's not gay.
So it says the justice's decision Thursday, which is June 5th, that's when the the Supreme Court unanimously decided with this woman. But now it's going to be much easier for people to claim reverse discrimination, whether it be racially or in terms of sexual orientation. During Pride Month of all motherfucking months, bro. This is bad. This is setting a really dangerous precedent.
Now that one coworker who's always listening into your conversations and wants to come to the cookout can take you to court and be like, well, they said I couldn't come to the cookout and that affected my job. They can try to sue to come to the cookout.
So she's mad that a lesbian got the promotion, she got demoted, and a gay man took her spot. Could it just be coincidence?
You gotta slap yourself for asking that question.
Some individuals, as is clear here, they feel like they have to be the victim. I don't know what it is in this world where people feel like they have to be the victim. I guess technically the victim is considered the person who's gotten done wrong, who everybody cares about and wants to support. And, you know, the perpetrator is not. Like, the perpetrator's a bad guy and nobody likes them or whatever. They're abusive, they're bullied, they're whatever. But it has to make sense. You can't just make up victimhood. You can't do wrong to people because they're straight or because they're white. But it's okay because, hey, we had to go through slavery. We had to go through the civil rights movement. And obviously, this is going to go back to the court. So this woman's going to have to actually either prove her case or get a settlement. I have no idea what's actually going to happen with that, if they're just going to go for a settlement or not. But I don't know. If they don't, then some things might come out and it could make them look really bad, or it could come out and make this woman look like a fool, and maybe she doesn't have the skills that she claims to have that would make her worthy of getting another position. But I think demoting a person after 5 years is pretty telling that the person obviously was probably doing a decent enough job to where, you know, a demotion didn't really make a whole lot of sense unless they made some sort of recent mistake or something. I don't really know, but we're going to find out. I will say that there's no way to know for sure without the evidence coming out. So yeah, I'm making jokes about it being all these, you know, 3 gay people, but there's always the devil's in the details. I'll just put it that way. So we're going to see what happens. I do think that the perception is that if you're white, then you can never be discriminated against ever. And racism doesn't exist for white people. Like, you know, really stupid stuff, because anybody can be racist against anybody. When that whole South African thing happened with the people coming from South Africa, there was tons of backlash from a bunch of black folks tripping because, well, what do you mean white people are allowed to come into the country, but people from Venezuela can't come into I'm like, we already had millions of them come in. Like, you want more of them? No, I think it's okay to put a cap eventually on the amount of people coming in from certain countries, and to allow people from countries that you want to come in. I mean, if I had to put my money on people who are going to be more beneficial in the long run to America and less burdensome, and going to cost less money and actually bring productivity, I'd probably put it on a lot of people from South Africa as opposed to Venezuela as an example. But since people are so race obsessed, they don't care about that. They just care about the color of people's skin and what the political leaders told people is important to care about in this country. But that's not obviously what I care about. I care about what is right and what is wrong, and discrimination is wrong, point blank, period. Doesn't matter if you are black, doesn't matter the history, doesn't matter if you're Jewish, it doesn't matter what the case is. You know, we're not hating on Zionists, we're not hating on other brown people, men, women, even LGBTQ people. You know, I do think that there's some nuance behind maybe the transes, because there's some mental stuff going on, but that doesn't mean hatred or discrimination necessarily. But might there need to be some different treatment, like, for example, the way Trump is treating the military situation? I mean, personally, I put it this way: if you know that a person is mentally ill, which I think most trans people are, would you want them to be taking care of your children, for example? Or are you okay with drag story times, or, you know, people going to these drag shows with your kids? No. I don't think so. So yeah, I think that in some cases, people can be treated differently in some situations when you're talking about mental illness. But for basic things like skin color and whether you're straight or gay, give me a freaking break. But these are just my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate y'all watching the Black Anomaly Rise channel. I'm out.
It doesn't matter whether you're black or brown or white or whatever the hell color you are. It doesn't matter. We are all Americans, and we're going to pull together as Americans.